Welcome to Gamer Chronicles, the podcast where pixels tell stories and gamers become legends. I'm your host, Aden, and I will be guiding you through the immersive worlds of RPGs. So on this week's episode, we're going to cover the news as usual, and I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite simulation games. And no, it's not Flight Simulator, it is Farming Simulator 25. Right, first things first, if you hear some weird noises in the back, that would be my dog licking its arsehole because it's being an arsehole today and just making a lot of noise. Alright everyone, gather around because today's gaming and tech news roundup is absolutely stacked. We've got collaborations between industry titans, game updates that refine the battlefield, and even a zombified Santa controversy to keep things interesting. There's a lot to unpack, so let's dive into it. So kicking things off, we've got a partnership that might just shake up the VR market. Apple and Sony are joining forces to make PlayStation VR2 Sense controllers compatible with Apple's Vision Pro headset. If this sounds like a move straight out of a corporate crossover fanfic, that's because it kind of is. According to The Verge, the collaboration aims to make the Vision Pro a more formidable contender in the gaming world by incorporating the PlayStation VR2's cutting-edge precision and responsiveness. But it doesn't stop at gaming. This compatibility could extend to productivity applications on Apple's Vision's OS. Imagine using PlayStation VR2 controllers to edit videos in Final Cut Pro or fine-tune designs in Photoshop with pinpoint accuracy. Suddenly, the Vision Pro isn't just a fancy headset, it's a multifunctional powerhouse for professionals and creativities. Well, if we're going to talk about the Vision Pro, let's just address the elephant in the room, which of course is sales. Because unless you have very deep pockets, and if you have deep pockets, you would have bought better things anyway to do all of this. The sales of the Vision Pro haven't been great. It wasn't a smash hit, and Mac Rumors reports fewer than 500,000 units have sold since its February debut, which is ridiculous. These numbers just are a lot less than stellar for a company like Apple. But the collaboration with Sony could be a strategic play to boost adoption rates by making the Vision Pro appealing to a broader audience. For Sony, it's a chance to expand the reach of its VR hardware into a new ecosystem. This partnership is also a direct response to stiff competition in the VR AR space, where Meta has been making some significant moves. The stakes are high, and while this alliance might seem unusual, it could shake it up. Apple and Sony need to solidify their positions. I did have a Meta Quest 2, but I sold it quite quickly after I got it. For a number of reasons. VR is very cool, and some people love it. I'm just not one of those people who loves it. And I just like to sit down, relax, and play games. That's me. I'm old school. If you like playing on a VR headset, that's great too. As long as you enjoy what you do. The good thing about the Meta Quest is, okay, when I say it's cheap, I mean it's cheaper than most other ones. And the Apple Vision Pro is so fucking expensive that you can buy a PlayStation, the VR headset for the PlayStation, and a Meta Quest for less than that. So why would you buy that to play PlayStation games on? It just doesn't make any sense. Unless you're flexing, you could get so much more for your money. Especially, in the VR. I mean, you could get a top-of-the-range gaming PC for that kind of price. And I'm pretty sure that I read somewhere they were discontinuing the manufacturing of the Vision Pro, but who knows? I don't know why Apple are trying to get in on this. They were supposed to release a car at some point, but you know what? It's Apple. Let's just not go there. Hey, here's another one, another Sony one. And Sony is looking to turn your smartphone into the ultimate gaming sidekick, because of course Xbox did it, so now Sony has to try and do it. And according to Game Rant, the company has filed a patent that outlines plans to use smartphones as a second screen for PlayStation consoles. If executed well, this could change how we interact with games and the PlayStation ecosystem. So here is the vision. Your phone could become a hub for in-game maps, inventory management, and mission objectives displayed in real time alongside your main screen. No more pausing to navigate menus, and everything you need is right there at your fingertips. And speaking of fingertips, the patent also suggests touchscreen controls allowing players to swipe and tap their way through gameplay, adding another level of interaction. And it doesn't end there. Social integration is another key feature of this concept. Picture this. You're using your smartphone to message friends, manage your party, or even stream your gameplay, all without interrupting the action on your console. It is an ambitious move that can make gaming more seamless and connected. It's not the first time that Sony tried this. The PS4 second screen app offered similar functionality, but this patent seems to take those ideas much further by leaning into the ubiquity of smartphones. Sony could make gaming more accessible and interactive for a wider audience. And while it's just still a patent, the possibilities are exciting, and hope to see this in action soon. This is a good idea because what game was it? It was Grand Theft Auto 5, where you downloaded the app to do things in the game. It was annoying. It didn't work very well, but if they had integrated it properly, that could have worked quite well to have your map on stuff. Because it's the most annoying thing, having to pause a game to look at the map. The new Indiana Jones game, which I'm trying now, you don't pause the game to look at the map. You literally pull the map up and start looking at it there and then. But it would be cool to have it on the side so you can see what you're doing and not interrupt it. Because having some information on the HUD is good, but then having it too cluttered and having a huge mini-map on the left-hand side or at the top, wherever, can bring out the immersion a bit. And then the fact that you have to pause it every 5 minutes to be like, oh, am I lost? Am I lost? But anyway, moving on. So Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, patch 5.0. I swear this game only came out the other day. But it brings huge changes. So if you're craving new content, tougher enemies, and refined mechanics, this patch will deliver it all and more. And it's quite a big deal because it looks like they're really looking after this game, which is pretty good. So, Operation Obelisk. This new mission sends players deep into a tomb on Demerium, where they must rotate a replica obelisk to disrupt the energy flow protecting the Aura device. IGN reports that this operation runs parallel to the campaign's final events, adding a fresh layer of narrative complexity. It's challenging, it's intense, and it's exactly what fans have been asking for. Oh my god, fucking hell. But the excitement doesn't end there. Because I'm only swearing because I write this stuff down. And I never go, how am I going to pronounce that? Say hello to Tizangor Enlightened. Or Zangor. Or Tangor, if you don't pronounce the TZ. But I think it's Zangor Enlightened, a new Majoris enemy that's part melee fighter, part ranged menace. These disc-riding hybrids are as deadly as they are visually striking, appearing in all operations featuring the Thousand Suns. Their addition forces players to rethink strategies and adapt to a more dynamic battlefield. And for all you customization lovers, the Dark Angels character pack is here, which is a premium DLC. Includes skins for the Bulwark class, Dark Angel theme weapon upgrades, and new armor pieces, including the sleek Mark 8 Raven Wing helmet. Just what are these fucking names? Mark 8 for fans of the Emperor's First Legion. This is a treasure trove of cosmetic goodness. The gameplay has also been overhauled, with melee weapons getting a damage boost and the introduction of the perfect block mechanic, where you time your blocks perfectly, stack up 3 buffs, and unleash a devastating AoE attack that can turn the tide of battle. Meanwhile, the new extermination bonus rewards players with XP based on how thoroughly they clear enemy waves, encouraging a more aggressive playstyle. And finally, technical improvements include better resolution and performance for PlayStation 5 Pro users, as well as enhanced visuals for DLSS and FSR support. Of course, we all love Activision. And this is funny and somewhat frustrating, of course. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is facing backlash for its AI-generated holiday reward. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to generate AI pictures, and they're very good. I have to say they're very good. But it's always the fucking hands that get them, because when you try and generate something, you get like a no-thumb, 8-fingered monstrosity. The picture's amazing. Like, you can say, oh, generate me a really cool video game character, and it looks amazing, like from The Witcher or something. And you end up with like 8-fingered, salad-fingered, Edward Scissorhands bullshit. Anyway, the Merry Mayhem event offers players a loading screen called Necroclaus, featuring a zombified Santa Claus. And of course, here's the catch. And why you can tell it was done by AI is because Necroclaus sports 6 fingers on one hand and what appears to be an extra digit sprouting from his wrist. The bow on his gift looks like crumpled paper. His belt defies geometry, and his eyes are smeared with something the community called out as lazy AI-generated cash grab. But this isn't Activision's first brush with AI controversy. In 2023, they were accused of selling an AI-generated cosmetic in Modern Warfare 3, even as the community laid off nearly 2,000 employees, including many 2D artists. And of course, the gaming community is understandably upset and accusing Activision of cutting corners and disrespecting both players and creators. Because in all fairness, with the right prompts, and probably in less than half an hour, I could make an image better than Necroclaus using AI. They're just cheeky fuckers, aren't they? They lay off these people who would make something even more amazing than what was there. And it makes no sense, because it's not like they're not making money. They lay off people, but they're making good money. I've never understood this. That bit of corporate greed is you're making so much money. How can you lay people off? Because I remember one of my old companies, huge corporate one, and they sent out letters for redundancy. And I thought, oh, they're going to, our profit. We're not making profit. Okay. And then I asked the question, are you making a loss? No. So you're above the red? Yes. Well, fuck you then. Greedy bastards. Anyway, I'm glad that there's a backlash on this, and I hope no one buys it, because, you know what? Fuck them. So angry. Anyway, back to Warhammer 40k, but this time, it's on the small screen, where Amazon has partnered with Games Workshop to develop a cinematic universe based on the franchise, with Henry Cavill leading the charge. Because as you all know, Cavill is a lifelong Warhammer fan, and is set to star and be an executive producer of the series. While details are still under wraps, fans are optimistic that Cavill's involvement will ensure authenticity, because this is what happened with The Witcher. He left it because it wasn't sticking to authenticity. So Amazon is betting big on Warhammer 40k, and with Cavill at the helm, it could become the next big thing in genre entertainment. I will be honest, I'm not a big Warhammer 40k fan, but I played the Total War Warhammers, and they were very good. And I will watch this. I mean, it's just one of these things that, even if you're not a fan of it, it might still turn out to be good. Right, up next, Grinding Gear Games has admitted that Path of Exile 2 isn't hitting the mark when it comes to loot and progression. Players have expressed frustration over underwhelming rewards, and the developers are listening. Changes are on the way, promising better loot drops, revamped crafting, and a more satisfied grind. For fans of action RPGs, this is a crucial step in keeping the sequel competitive in an increasingly crowded market. It's still in early access. I'm glad they're listening, but they've got plenty of time to polish the game, so it is good. It is good to support them, and if they are listening, buy the game, support them, and they'll listen to you by the looks of it. And finally, for those of you idiots like me who bought Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, they are heading into the final season, Season 4, and bringing Deathstroke along for the ride. The infamous assassin is set to play a major role in the season's storyline, adding a fresh dynamic to the game. With his tactical mind and combat skills, Deathstroke promises to shake things up as the squad faces off against brainwashed superheroes. And this is the last season they're releasing. They've said it. That's it. They're done. So this game pretty started and died as quick as it went. Anyway, so from Apple and Sony's surprising collaboration to Warhammer's 40K's expansion into the cinematic universe and everything in between, it's clear gaming and tech worlds are getting more exciting and chaotic than ever. So whether you're grinding for rewards, strategizing in grimdark universes, or debating the merits of AI-generated content, there's never a dull moment. So before we get into the game, I've been starting to play Indiana Jones, and I have to say that the game looks incredible. It's like Cyberpunk. It's got the... So it runs really good, and ray tracing is on. And then you've got path tracing, which of course just kills any computer that doesn't have a 4090. In fact, I don't even think a 4090 could run this on max, or it might just do it, but not at a high refresh rate. My only gripe at the moment is when you switch from a high refresh rate to a cutscene, in-game cutscene, and it drops to 60. And it's quite annoying. That little transition you notice, because obviously it's a huge frame rate drop. But at the moment, that's the only thing I've found. But enjoying the game. Hopefully I'll finish it before next week's show and I can talk about it. Anyway, here we are to the main event. Alright friends, buckle up your tractor seats because we are diving into Farming Simulator 25, the game that makes managing crops, feeding livestock, and driving giant machines somehow feel more exciting than saving the world in a typical action RPG. So Farming Simulator 25 continues Giant Software's tradition of making farming ridiculously immersive, adding new mechanics, shiny graphics, and a bucket load of features to keep virtual farmers glued to their screens. This year's release isn't just an upgrade, it's a full-scale operation. The game has expanded in almost every direction, so whether you're into livestock, big machinery, or running a profitable farm, like the agricultural Jeff Bezos, there's something for you. And let's be honest, the game also gives us more reasons to laugh at AI helpers and yell out at our monitors when our carefully planned crops get hit by a freak frost. So let's plow into it. So the core gameplay remains the same: plowing, planting, nurturing, harvesting, selling, and reinvesting. It's the game's equivalent of the Circle of Life, but with more dirt and spreadsheets. So you'll start with a few fields, bit of basic machinery, and slowly work your way up to owning an entire region. And the gradual process is quite satisfying. It's like watching your crops grow, but on a much larger scale. But the grind is real, and it's a good kind of grind, because you're constantly working towards your next upgrade, be it a better tractor, a shiny new combine, or just satisfaction of planting the perfect crop rotation. It's oddly meditative until chaos kicks in. And when I say chaos, you'd be surprised at what can happen when you fuck it up. Because I bought these 2 fields, and I wanted to place some sheds at the back, but there were trees everywhere. So I decided to just start forestry shit just out of there. So I hired all this forestry equipment, and then you realize, wait, it can't cut down the wide trees. It can only do pine trees. So you've wasted all this money bringing in the forestry equipment. And at the end of it, you're just like, oh, because then you've got You then have to have a truck with a log loading trailer. You have to have an excavator to pick up the logs as you do them. You have to have a wood chipper if you want to make wood chips with the smaller logs. You need to have obviously your chainsaw. And it just turns into, I spent at least 12 hours getting rid of some fucking trees. Just to make room for a shed. I spent all my money and then I had nothing left to buy my shed. And that is what makes Farming Simulator great. New features. The weather simulation. It's not just for show, it is cruel. It's an unfeeling beast that will ruin your plans. Rain delays harvesting, frost kills your crops, and dry spells force you to manage irrigation. Forget sunflowers, you're growing ulcers with all this stress. And yes, you have water tanks that you need to use for irrigation. So that makes it a lot more realistic, a lot more harder, and great. And the big one for me, because I had a mod for this in the last Farming Simulator 23, and that is the steering assist, which is a huge addition that makes operating these massive machines a bit less of a headache. Think cruise control, but for tractors. It keeps your machinery aligned and steady, letting you focus on the farming instead of swerving all over the place like a drunk raccoon. But it's optional, so if you want the full I'm really bad at driving a tractor experience, you can still go rogue. And I love it, because it's so hard to make straight lines, and then it just pisses you off after a while, because you can never align a tractor straight in a game like this. It just never works. Well, at least not for me. I'm probably shit at it. I'm sure other people can do it, no problem. But the AI helpers, we'll talk about that glorious disaster in a minute, but let's just say they're both your best friends and your worst nightmare. Mostly the latter. So in terms of graphics and performance, visual upgrades, Giant Software has outdone themselves here. Textures are crisper, lighting is more realistic, and the crops look lifelike. Even the dirt has layers of detail that make it oddly satisfying to plow through. Seasons are more immersive than ever. In winter, snow blankets your farm, creating a beautiful but challenging landscape. Spring bursts with color and growth, while autumn's falling leaves and rich hues will make you forget you're supposed to be working. In terms of performance, I know for a fact on my PC, it runs like a dream, smooth frame rate, stunning visuals, and the only loading time you have is at the start. And apparently it's the same on next-gen consoles. On older hardware though, it's a bit rougher around the edges, textures are a bit muddy, and the frame rate occasionally dips when your farm gets too complex. But, that's expected of old hardware. But they bring new farming mechanics and machinery to the mix. Lavender in particular has a cool niche appeal, perfect for those who want to imagine running a bougie French farm making artisanal oils and soaps. And you've got a great selection of maps as well. You've got your standard normal US map, and then you've got your map set in Asia where you can do a lot of rice farming, and then you've got your forestry map, is what I call it. So whatever you're into, there's plenty there for you. Livestock management. Goats are adorable, ducks are noisy, and both add a lot of personality to your farm. Livestock now reacts to weather and care levels more dynamically, so neglect your animals at your peril. They might not die, but they'll eventually stop producing. A sad, unproductive goat is not the vibe that you want. And the revamped marketing system means you'll be obsessively checking prices before selling your crops. I do that all the time. And timing is everything, so you need to look at fluctuations, and they're realistic enough to make you feel like an agricultural stockbroker. It's frustratingly fun, like gambling, but with wheat. And now, the bane and tragedy of all farming simulator games. That is the AI helpers. And where do we even begin? On one hand, they are smarter than ever. They can now handle multiple fields, switch between tasks, and even avoid basic, in keyword there is basic obstacles. On the other hand, they are so fucking stupid, okay? Good example is you set your helper to harvest a field, they start making nice clean passes until they suddenly decide the best course of action is to drive your $500,000 harvester into the nearest lake. And then there's the infamous circle of stupidity where your helper gets stuck in an endless loop because they can't figure out how to turn around. It's both hilarious and infuriating. Not to mention that when you just want them to drive somewhere because you want to concentrate on other things, they try and take the shortest route possible down dirt roads and they get stuck. And sometimes you cannot get them unstuck, so you have to reset your machinery back to where it started anyway. And the worst part is the AI can't unload your harvester into a trailer yet. So after everything, they still can't drive next to you and unload. It's so annoying because you got to stop what you're doing, drive the trailer over, unload it yourself, and and if they have one like where you can adjust the height of the pipe that pipes out, they'll fucking put it in a place where you just can't get the trailer quite underneath. So what you have to do then is switch to the harvester they're in, and then kick them out, adjust it so that it can go in, and then bring them back. And then they do their bullshit reversing and maneuvering again. Oh, it's fucking AI. They're shit. But you can't do the game without them. So, in terms of strengths, the core gameplay is addictive as ever. There's a deep sense of accomplishment in building your farm from scratch and watching it thrive or die. And the steering assist is a godsend for anyone who has ever struggled with keeping their machinery straight. And if you tell me otherwise, you're fucking lying, because it is difficult to keep your machinery straight. Because sometimes you even see it on the screen, like inside one of the tractors, you can see the lines there, but you can never project it onto the ground, like you never were able to, but it's there. It's like you're missing that key point, but now I'm glad it's there. So, yeah. And then, of course, there's multiplayer, and it's chaotic as always, watching your friends accidentally destroy your fields while trying to help. And, of course, the weaknesses. AI, while improved, still has its moments of breathtaking stupidity. Let's just not go there again, because there's not a time where they don't frustrate me. The pace of progression might feel glacial to newcomers. If you're used to faster-paced games, the grind can be a bit much, but I will say stick with it. It's a great game. The UI, while better than before, still feels a little clunky in certain areas, especially when managing multiple tasks or workers. My final thoughts is Farming Simulator 25 is the pinnacle of agricultural gaming. They always have been, and it's immersive, rewarding, and definitely hilarious at times, or frustrating. Whether that's due to the AI antics or your own mistakes, the new features like weather simulation, expanded maps, and steering assist add depth and accessibility without compromising the core charm. It's not perfect, but it is close. So if you've ever dreamed of farming or just want to yell at some AI helpers, this game is definitely for you. And it is relaxing to enjoy and just drive your tractor around after a hard day's work. The only problem is sometimes my son comes in and he's like, "Daddy, what are you playing?" "Oh, I want to play." And then you leave him to play, and then you come and you find that every single one of your vehicles has ended up in a ditch somewhere, or a lake, or upside down. I've had that before. So yeah, even if you're not you'd be surprised, because I never thought I would like a game like this. But once you get to a certain age, I've even got a friend at work playing it all the time. He's gone absolutely mental over it, where he's got livestock everywhere. He's basically running an empire, and he's playing Farming Simulator 2023, and he's buying a PlayStation for Christmas just to play Farming Simulator 25 because he wants to experience the best of it. So yeah, highly recommend it. So I do hope you enjoyed that episode. So thanks for tuning in. Please don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share the episode with your mates. It helps us grow faster than a perfectly irrigated field of corn. So if you've got thoughts on Farming Simulator 25, ideas for future episodes, or just want to tell me how many hours you've sunk into harvesting lavender, hit me up on social media. So until next time, happy farming, keep your AI in check, and may your fields always be fertile. See you in the next episode.